In a time long before your grandfather's grandfather was born, when animals could talk and trees carried secrets on the wind, there lived a tortoise unlike any other. His name was simply Tortoise, but don't let the simplicity fool you, he was the most cunning creature in all the land. Tortoise wasn't fast like antelope, or strong like elephant, or fierce like lion. But oh, he was clever. He could talk his way out of anything and into everything. With just his words, he could turn enemies into friends, or fools. The other animals admired him, yes, but they also feared him. Not because he was dangerous, but because they knew, if you weren't careful, Tortoise would trick you before you even finished saying hello. One day, as the sun rose over the dry savanna, something unusual happened. The birds were in a flutter, literally. Wings flapped and feathers flew as messages passed from branch to branch. The sky people were hosting a great feast in the clouds. It was said to be the grandest feast ever held. There would be pounded yam as soft as the clouds themselves, honey sweeter than morning dew, and fruits that sparkled like stars. Every bird in the land was invited. But of course, only birds could attend. After all, they were the ones with wings. The invitation was clear. To our feathered friends, a feast awaits in the sky. Come hungry, leave happy. Tortoise overheard the news as Parrot announced it proudly by the riverbank. And instantly, the gears in his mind began to turn. A feast in the sky. He muttered, that sounds like a place for someone clever. He waddled up to the birds, shell shining in the sun. My dear flying friends, he said smoothly, such an honor for you. But tell me, must one truly have wings to attend? Could not a humble guest like myself join in the festivities? The birds laughed. Tortoise, unless you've grown wings overnight, there's no way you can fly with us. This feast is in the clouds, far above the tallest trees. Tortoise nodded solemnly. Ah, I understand, but if only I had just one feather from each of you, perhaps I could stitch myself a pair of wings. Nothing grand, just enough to lift my spirit and my body. Some birds hesitated, but others chuckled. What harm could one feather do? They said. And so, one by one, they each gave him a feather. Bright, long, and colorful. Tortoise gathered them in secret and worked through the night. By dawn, he had crafted the most unusual pair of wings ever seen, patchy, multicolored, and ridiculous looking. But somehow, they worked. When the birds saw him the next morning, flapping and wobbling in midair, they gasped. By the baobab tree, he's flying. And so, the birds allowed Tortoise to join their flight. Off they soared, up past the tallest trees, above the clouds, into the realm of the sky people. As they flew, Tortoise made a strange suggestion. My dear friends, he said, flapping beside them, in sky culture, it's customary to adopt a new name. A sky name. A name of honor. The birds blinked. A new name. Yes, said Tortoise confidently. You can't just arrive at a royal feast as plain sparrow or owl. No, no, you must take a name that fits the skies. The birds murmured among themselves. What name will you take, Tortoise? Asked Parrot. Tortoise grinned. I shall be called, all of you. The birds looked confused. All of you, yes, said Tortoise, nodding solemnly. When the sky people ask who the feast is for, they will say, it is for all of you. And that will be me. The birds exchanged worried glances, but it was too late. They were already gliding down into the clouds, where drums were beating and music was playing. The sky people welcomed them warmly. Their tables overflowed with steaming food, glittering fruits, and golden bowls of honey. Welcome, noble guests, cried the sky chief. This feast is for all of you. Tortoise stepped forward with a bow. Thank you, noble hosts. I am all of you. You may serve me now. And so the sky people did. They served him the best portions. Tortoise ate first. Tortoise ate second. Tortoise ate everything. The birds sat in stunned silence, watching their friend devour their feast bite by bite, bowl by bowl. When they finally spoke, it was with anger. Tortoise, you deceived us. Tortoise licked his fingers and leaned back, satisfied. Deceived? No, my friends. I merely follow tradition. But the birds were not laughing. Furious and humiliated, they stood up as one. You tricked us. And for that, you will not fly back with our feathers. One by one, the birds plucked their feathers from Tortoise's wings. Soon, he was featherless, and flightless, stranded in the sky. Tortoise looked around in panic. Wait, you can't leave me here. But the birds turned their backs and flew away, vanishing into the clouds below. Left alone, Tortoise looked down at the earth, which seemed very, very far away. He had only one choice. He shouted as loud as he could. Wife, wife, if you can hear me, bring out all the soft things, mattresses, grass, leaves, cloth. I'm jumping down. But his wife, busy sweeping the compound, heard only part of his cry. She thought he said, bring out the hardest things, stones, pots, wood. And that's exactly what she did. She piled the yard with every hard object she could find. Meanwhile, Tortoise braced himself. I've outsmarted everyone else. Surely I can outsmart gravity. He leapt. Down he fell, faster than the wind, down through the clouds, down past the treetops, and then, crack, smash, the sound echoed through the hills. His shell shattered into dozens of pieces. Tortoise lay groaning, barely conscious, surrounded by sharp bits of what once was his proud shell. His wife screamed and rushed to him. She gathered the pieces and called the village healer. The healer worked tirelessly, day and night, using magic and sap, herbs and heat, to piece the shell back together. But even with all his skill, he could not restore it to its former smoothness. The shell remained cracked, a mosaic of scars. When Tortoise woke, he touched his shell and winced. I look broken. The healer nodded. It is the price of trickery. From that day forward, Tortoise no longer boasted. No longer tricked. He walked slowly, carefully, with the cracks on his back as a reminder of what pride and lies can cost. And so, children, if you see a tortoise today and wonder why his shell is rough and full of lines, now you know. Each crack tells a tale. A tale of greed, wit, pride, and the long fall that followed. The animals never forgot, and neither should we, for while cleverness is a gift, it must always be used with kindness, and never against those who trust you. That, my friends, is the story of why the tortoise has a cracked shell.